Hello and welcome to the Nuts and Bolts. I am Ryan Fairchild, and I will be your host throughout this odyssey through the robotics world as we expose the deepest secrets of the best teams here in Central Florida FTC. But first, my personal little PSA to all of you out there. As you can tell, this show is in its infancy. In fact, this is our very first full episode where we'll be testing absolutely everything. This is not our real mic. They haven't come in yet. The cables and tables and everything that is in the edges of the screen and all of that, it's a fact of life right now. But it will get better with your support. I'm not asking for you to donate to Patreon. I'm just asking you, please watch the video and maybe watch the next one because that will help us out quite a lot. And now I can drop this fake YouTuber voice and get real. This show is for the McKeel Robotics Club, and I represent, partially, Team Mario's Mechanics, but I also interview Mario's Mechanics and every other team here at McKeel, and hopefully some more out there in Central Florida and even around the world. Well, around Florida anyway. Um, but for right now, we have this set, we have this equipment, and we have the two interviewees that we'll be talking to today. So please give us your comments, give us your thoughts, give us everything, but know that we're still trying to grow. And if you want to, then please do help us on that mission and help us to grow and become, something better than First Robotics Network. So anyway, without any further ado, our first guest is Matthew Smith, the lead builder on Maru's Mechanics. I answered to him. He's my boss.
Yeah,
Marty, how are
that's
you?
yeah, I'm doing great.
That is good to hear. I'm doing pretty fantastic. This is our 57th attempt trying to film an episode, and hopefully this one's gonna work. And if you
Yeah,
see it, then that means it did.
yeah.
So, Maddie, um, you have helped a lot with this show.
I have.
How do you feel that this is finally going to happen?
Well, I'm glad we've gotten this far. I mean, last time we just got in the basic testing video equipment, and that's about where it left off.
Yes, it did. It left off many times.
Many, many,
But
many times.
let's not beat around the bush. Marty, tell us, this season, I call him Marty, but
Yeah,
this is not a very formal show. We're still making a name for ourselves, and our name is going to be pretty informal. So anyway, Maddie, tell us, this season, it's unique, it's different, it's fast. What are we going to do this season? What is our strategy?
our strategy is be the best and invent the rest.
Naturally,
That's
that
an
is. Do
awful.
you spitball that? That's good.
Yes.
That's good. See, this is the kind of content you can expect.
Yeah,
Um,
that's awful because
I like.
it's based off like the steal from the best, invent the rest.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
good. I like that.
Anyway,
This is good.
um, saw that last night. Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah. So we plan on just doing the most the best advice we got, and we've seen it every year from as far as long as I've been a part first, is most of the successful teams are doing the harder piece. So our goal this year is to identify the hardest challenge on the field and do that exceptionally well.
now this year there aren't too many challenges. It's a pretty narrowly focused year.
Yeah,
There's it's pretty to the point.
yeah,
And that to the point is obviously launch the artifacts
yes,
into the temple or whatever it's called, the
yeah.
goal. So how are we going to do that? What's our strategy for that?
So our strategy is based on very limited research. It's only been a couple days since season
Sure.
launch. Uh, but as of right now, we appear to be trying something more of a FRC style launcher back from the game, the 2017 year Steamworks, I believe it was.
Yes.
Um, that would, because their challenge, it used the same exact balls that we're using, except they're green instead of well, like a bright
Yeah.
lime green. So they had to collect dozens of these balls, score them, and they throw these and only miss one or two for the really good teams.
Yeah.
We have that variance. But if we can copy parts of that design to get that consistency, it would in turn allow us to score with almost 100% certainty that we'll score. Because if we have 2%
Yes.
miss rate, I mean, we're not going to be scoring that many.
Yes. So you mentioned obviously 2017 Steamworks, which for those of you out there looking for ideas, an amazing place to look. Again, the exact same game elements, slightly different challenge, but same elements. Some great ideas out there. So you mentioned that we're going to be copying their design for launching these artifacts. What is what is the life cycle of this artifact? It starts on the field, it ends in the goal. What happens in between?
So we're planning on doing some sort of wheel or flail intake because they've just over probably a decade, I mean, as long as I can remember, have been an incredibly effective way of collecting
Tried and
what,
true mechanism.
yes. Uh, so we'll probably go something along those lines, but we'd have obviously some sort of transfer from the intake to the launcher. But in somewhere in between, we do plan on having some sort of sorting or filtering mechanism that allows us to collect whatever color we want and store the ones we don't. So then we can stock up on three artifacts and choose which colors we want. And depending on how good our programming team is, they could even know that we have a certain color, like we have a green, so now we should get two purples. And if we can collect a green, it'll just spit it back out and we can collect a purple,
Yeah.
which means we'd always have that perfect loadout for a pattern.
Okay, so you mentioned sorting, and you mentioned just flail intake launch, pretty standard stuff. Now, in our analysis of the season, we've determined that this is going to be a speed year.
Yes.
End of story. It's all about speed.
Yes.
So, say there's some teams out there that they're going to table sorting. Sorting is a later project. Speed. What's the cornerstone of getting that speed from the floor to the goal?
So for that, you'd want probably like an 1150 on your intake. If you're using good build, I couldn't tell you the ref ultraplanetary gear sets. It'd probably be in a ballpark around 10 to 1 or so. Less than that, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. You're smart. Uh, to get a really fast intake, because a fast intake's a good intake. You don't want to have to sit there for 4 or 5 seconds kind of fiddling with it to get the ball to go into your robot. You want to just be you touch it, you own it. No question. So you need a fast intake. But then after that, it's where it goes is where you can get really creative. It's easy to make a wheel spin really, really fast. We do that all the time. It's really fun.
Yes.
But when it comes to actually controlling that speed and putting it where you need it, that's where a good engineer shines.
It's true. It's true. So, like you said, it's all about speed and it's all about control. It's about bringing it in fast, getting it through the robot fast, and getting it out of there fast and precisely into the goal.
Yes.
Like you mentioned from Steamworks, which again, there's some pretty describe me the design that Steamworks robots tended to use for the launchers.
So they would tend to use a curved piece of material. I mean, I saw polycarbonate, metal, plastic, whatever. Like they just
Whatever.
use whatever's available. They would sometimes even coat it with like a foam or something
Sure.
to give it some grip. But it's a arced launcher with a flywheel in the middle. I guess it'd be concentric if you're familiar with CAD. Uh, so the ball will go in and then kind of arc around and then launch out. Some of the teams would even go as far as modifying that exit angle to adjust for distance to.
Trajectory. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that is kind of the general concept. But of course, because these bots are nowhere near as agile as our bots, to an extent, they have to have it on a turret.
Yes.
So they would actually center all this stuff around a turret. So they would feed up through the middle of the turret, and then it would just go to the launcher.
So okay, so you talked about speed. You talked about getting it and getting it, the ball into the robot, out onto the goal fast as possible. The other thing that you mentioned though was a sorter, an indexer, whatever you want to call it, which has been a hot topic this year in
Yes.
FTC. So tell us, I don't know, we our design for sorter might be complex, it might be whatever. Give us the quintessential sorter. How could every team out there, what's their starting point for a sorter?
So I would say your starting point would be something along the lines of the Starpot. It is not the most efficient design. It's not the end game. It's not game breaking. It's good enough for now. And once you have that, that's when you can have that peace of mind. I don't need to go in this just to work for comp. You can build off of it. You can tinker because once you have it, it's your programmer's deal now. They can program it while you work on Gen 2, version 2, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. But I would start with something, a wide intake with some sort of flap that can divert between two different baskets. And then from those baskets, feed into a flywheel. Or you can take more of like a build a starter bot strat and just have two different launching systems.
Sure. I've seen a lot about the two turret system. I know that we're planning on a one turret system fed from those two separate hoppers or wheels, however you want to do it. Which do you think is more viable this year? Obviously, we've leaned towards one turret, but what are the pros and cons of each?
So with the dual turret, you could easily allow yourself to adjust RPM. So like every time you fire, even if it's the tiniest amount, your flyways will slow down. So if you can alternate between the two, then you can fire one while the other one, and then while it's spinning back up, you can fire out the second one. And depending on your design, you can even just have one central hopper that can choose between, and then you just fire between two different targets, which could offset some of the consistency issues that you run into if you just fed a whole bunch through one turret real quick.
Okay, so we've talked about in, out, everything in between. Is there anything else build wise that you feel that every team out there, all millions of them that are watching this, should know?
Keep it simple.
So true. And when in doubt, it's not an accident, it's a feature, right? That's the spirit. Okay, well, it has been a pleasure
It
having you,
has.
and I hope to see you back soon, but not too soon. We want to hear from everybody out there. So thank
Comment
you.
down below.
Yes, of course, of course. Support the show, you know. So thank you very much, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Now, our next guest will provide a slightly different approach. Maybe you found Maddie's a little too technical. Whatever it might be, our next guest has a fresh look. He's also from Mario's Mechanics, so you know he's the best. Without any further ado, Regan.
Thank you.
Regan, it is a pleasure to have you on the show, as with every guest.
Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. Now, Reagan here, as I mentioned, is on Mario's Mechanics. This is your second year on Mario's?
Yes.
Second year on Mario's. So he's actually a new acquaintance of mine. I don't know him near as well as Maddie, and I will be very excited to get to know you and your ideas for this season. So you heard Maddie's ideas, obviously. Tell us where are you going to go this year? Where's your ideas taking you?
Well, my ideas have actually been taking me all over this season because there's just so much, but there's also not enough to
It's
do
true.
at the same time. But like he was saying about the single chart, at first I was going with a dual chart design in my brain, thinking you can just have a kicker in the middle and you can just shoot out of one to keep the, because at first I thought for the scoring you could keep the color code constantly, but you can't. That's only during auto and in-game. So I was thinking, since I thought it was constantly, a dual turret would be perfect just to keep the code going.
It's fair. Yes. So you'd suggest two turrets so
Yes.
that there's never a break of any kind, never a pause, just
Yes.
constant. That's yes. So you're going for more of that speed route because obviously two turrets there is sorting involved, but it's mostly going to be for speed.
Yes.
So in your opinion, I know you know you're pretty familiar, fairly familiar with the scoring.
Yes.
So keeping that scoring in mind, how would you say it's going to affect the game this year in terms of speed, in terms of your considerations? What's the scoring mean for that?
Well, first things first, with the auto, what I've noticed out of all the other seasons, you get points for just leaving the from where you start from. So that's easy points right off the bat for you. But during the teleop, it's basically as fast as you can get to just keep scoring. But I would say with your alliance, work them out good so you can have a constant of the classifier, which is where the balls roll into after they go in the goal. Keep your alliance, like, work with them to open that gate so you keep getting the +3 instead of the +1 from it going through the overfill.
So what you're saying is that this year we're going to see a lot of alliance work. It's
Yes.
going to be a very complex alliance gear because, like you mentioned, you have if everybody leaves the spot, that's amazing for the
Yeah.
story. It's such a simple thing, but if everybody does it, it's great. And you talked about that teamwork when it comes to filling and emptying the thing. So the other thing that you mentioned obviously was your design considerations with relation to this emptying that and launching it in. So this year, design wise, obviously it's very early for you. This is,
Yes.
you're starting out on the build team. Someday you'll be Maddie or, something like that. So you've detailed the score to us. You've
Yeah.
detailed the scoring pretty well, or at least what you think are the main considerations, which
Yes.
I would tend to agree with. How can our design for beginner teams? You're a beginner builder. There are beginner teams out there. How should their design reflect those principles?
Well, like Maddie said, just keep it simple. That's like the easiest way to do it for now. But also change it up. Don't be the same as everybody else. You don't want a field full of the go build a starter bots, even
It's
though
true.
it would be the easiest thing to do at first.
It's true. So again, with launching, with sorting, he discussed the two hopper method. He discussed your flywheel around the C shape, and those are amazing strategies. Like we
Yes.
said, tried and true. Are there any other approaches that you maybe came up with?
Well, at first I was also thinking like a medieval catapult at first, but that would rely on a lot of the human player,
Yes.
which that will kill a lot of time on you. So that idea got thrown out pretty quick in my brain.
We've seen a lot of those with the robot in 30 hours, a lot of stuff like that. We've seen a
Yes.
lot of just catapulting robots, like the one in the video. So what about that indexer? That's a complex thing that a lot of teams are going to be worried about this year. Where's your stance on that?
I'm in the middle
Okay,
because it can change a lot with everything is. Like you can have one really complex and but simple, but the simple comes out on top.
it's true. It's true. Simple might be the Hopper method, like we talked about.
Yes.
What do you have any other ideas for this indexer?
As of now, no, because we've all started grouped together and maybe once it starts coming along, they will start popping back in. But once you all get focused on that one idea, it's kind of like smaller things, but it's stuff that can hold off for now.
That's true. That's true. So, the other thing, the other major component of this game is, of course, parking in the same spot, which is
Yes.
a massive challenge this year. Do you have any idea at all how we're going to do that?
I was at first thinking like a car lift system, like at the auto shops, do like something like that so the other robot can just go up underneath. The problem is, if your alliance doesn't know how to drive, you could end up with no points on the ground.
It's true. So, once again, what you kind of gone back to here is scoring
Yes.
and teamwork, because if you can work well with your alliance partner, if they're small, they're going to be able to fit in there.
Yes.
Or if you're small, you can potentially, if they have a proper mechanism, fit under there. So, I think really the biggest thing that you'd highlight from your perspective in your earlier years of FTC
Yes.
is it's all about teamwork and it's all about designing robots that can work with other people.
Yes.
So, from that standpoint, to our billions upon billions of viewers, what would you recommend that these teams keep in mind to help them work better with other teams?
Good communication. Go talk to the team that you're going to be an alliance partnered with because you don't want to go out there and you don't know exactly how they run. Go talk to them, see how their robot runs, and even if you have time, run a few practice matches on the field out front if you have one.
Excellent, excellent advice, and it's always great to hear somebody who's like you said. And I'm not knocking your skill or anything. I've seen him build. He's great, but you're starting out. There's still room to
Yes.
grow, and it's great to much like this show. We're starting out, room to grow, but it's great to hear the ideas that you have because every perspective counts when it comes
Yes.
to FTC. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, which I've said far too many times now. So thank you very much,
Thank you for having me.
and we will see you soon.
See you soon.
And so, with that, that concludes this inaugural episode of The Nuts and Bolts. As always, I'm Ryan Fairchild, and I hope that you will tune in again to whatever we come up with next. Our next episode probably will entail the perspectives of the programmers, which is something rare on this show, speaking as a builder myself, but is nonetheless an incredibly important aspect of the season. And if we're lucky, our next episode might also have some prototypes from Build Team, from Maddie, from Reagan, and from everybody else on Build Team and on Mars Mechanics and here at the McKeel Robotics program. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.